Hey, Jasen Rice here with LotParty. We have great two next episodes on the LotParty. I got Ed French, he's a used car consultant. I'm breaking our interview up. It's a 40-minute interview, breaking up to two shows, and we're going over a deep dive into 5 steps that he thinks dealerships need to do what he does to help turn dealerships around to get their used car inventory going. So this is, again, 2 episodes coming up. Here's the first episode. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Hey, Jasen Rice here with LotParty. Hey, thank you for joining me. Now, every Monday, again, we do new episodes of a LotParty, and what we're trying to do, if you've ever been in a dealership, you know what a LotParty is about. It's to stir that inventory up. You go outside, you get the sales crew, the porters, and you start moving cars around, but that's what this show's about on the virtual world. What can we do online? What can we do with our inventory to stir up some traction, stir up this online presence to drive some traffic into the door, and that's what we're doing today. And we're going to be talking to Ed French here. Now, he's a used car consultant that with Auto Profit LLC. It's his own company. He's a consultant on used car operations. And we're going to go over, I'm going to have him introduce himself and again, go over some best practices of what it takes to improve your used car operations. I think anybody that has a strong used car inventory can obviously have a strong new car inventory and new car presence, because you don't have to hold back on trades. You can be able to have flexibility stepping up on trades and things like that, because you know your used car department can absorb that stuff. So Ed, no further delay here. I want you to introduce yourself. Kind of give us a background of when you start in the car business, where you've been, and then what you do right now.
Now, thank you, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity to be with y'all. I started in the car business in 1973. Believe most everybody in the audience was born. So I think I can take the podium as the winner of the oldest guy you've interviewed so far.
Oh, there you go.
But it's been a great 43 years in the car business. My first car I ever sold was a 73 Gremlin, believe it or not. Those of you who don't know what it is, that's an AMC. And for those 43 years, I have sat in every chair in a dealership, and for 15 years was a managing partner of 4 operations in the Midwest. We had 2 Ford dealerships, a Chevrolet, and a Chrysler Dodge Jeep. So during that time, we were retailing out of those operations about 7,000 retail units a year out of those 4 operations. So we got very busy in the used car business, and frankly, it was 100% of our success. So I moved on in 2011. My partner's son succeeded me as the COO of that operation, and I retired and moved to Florida. That's where old people go. So I've now started a consulting business. Specifically, my practice is how to improve used car operations for dealers and dealer groups throughout the country. So I work with dealers and dealer groups specifically to improve their digital parity, meaning what does their virtual presence look like, and how does that match with what they're doing presently at their bricks and mortar. Inventory distribution. What are the attributes for a great distribution of inventory? So it's not just having inventory, it's having the inventory sliced up into different buckets that meet and match the marketplace. And then what are the attributes of a great dealership? So virtually they have to have a great pricing model, great inventory health, great management rules, and then a great website. So I focus with dealers across the country in these specific areas of practice, Jason.
Yeah, and that's what you say, more holistic report, taking a view of everything. And I know we talked about like our differences on things that I do here. It's more granular because we're grinding through inventory on a daily basis, and you're just making sure that this foundation's strong to be able to, to be able to make those adjustments. Because if your foundation isn't strong, like you said, all those attributes there, everything that combine, all those price changes and things you do on a weekly basis really might not matter much, huh?
Right, exactly, Jason. It is foundational by design. I think my best asset is to build that foundation for dealers and then let them customize it to each individual marketplace and frankly to the strengths or weaknesses of their human capital. Yeah. So I work with them very closely. The first thing I do, Jason, is I actually go in and do a full day review of the actual vitals of the dealership. So we take a look at the numbers. We take a look at their aggregate cost to sell, their daily boarding costs, many of the same things that you actually expose your clients to. We actually plug those in, take a look at them, and then take a more detailed look at where they presently stand with inventory and selling processes, and then begin to build that inventory distribution and then the dealership attribution model.
So, you brought up, customize it. Now, I deal a lot on the fundamentals of money management to turn those dollars, a good strict 60-day policy I like to get my dealers on and get that turn up to 15, 18 plus. And I think at that point in time, you can kind of have that holy grail of if you're pushing enough fresh inventory out, 60, 70% fresh and less than 5% age, you're going to get gross, and then on a 60-day turn policy, you're going to be able to push that volume. But I think fundamentally the money management is the same, because we get a lot of dealers say, oh, you don't understand my market, or you don't understand my clientele, which I get. Every a Highline store in the city is different than a domestic store in the country in that aspect, but the fundamentals of money management doesn't change for one dealer over the other. We still need to turn this inventory and turn these dollars. So as far as customization on that process, what are some of those tweaks that stores make based off of that, kind of setup?
Basically, what I do with them is I let them decide what kind of return they want to get on the asset.
Okay.
And then break that down into the 4 buckets of inventory distribution. I'm really strong on this particular principle because it will identify the ultimate return on investment of the inventory. So specifically, what I do is I actually break down how are you going to distribute your assets. Are you going to distribute them in normal buckets, or are you going to distribute them and customize them? So as an example, we break those down into A, B, C, and CPO buckets.
Okay.
So an A inventory should have a phenomenal return on investment because it's going to be somewhere around 10% of the asset of the inventory. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind car. It's going to have a low market day supply. It's going to have it's that ultimate garage kept non-smoker, one owner. Everybody's got a story about that particular A car, and we let them decide how they're going to distribute the asset.
Okay, so the A car more likely be a trade type of thing? More times than not?
The car is almost 100% a trade, normally found on the service drive through either equity mining or some sort of tool to dig a customer out of a car that they wouldn't have thought about normally trading.
Okay.
It can be a really low market day supply lease return.
Okay.
But it's a car that we want to get high ROI on.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just putting it in the normal inventory bucket. We want to look at it more closely. So we're going to look at it twice a week on VDPs. We're going to be really slow to make pricing changes, only maybe twice a month.
Okay.
We're going to be really critical on its photos and descriptions. Its DNA will determine its return on asset.
Okay.
So we really focus on great pictures, great description, great DNA, great call to action, and focus very strongly on that particular sector of the inventory.
All right. Now, I'm assuming you're a strict 60-day policy guy. Now, would this car be allowed a little bit longer, or is it still a 60?
It could run outside the term policy, Jason, depending on its market day supply.
Okay.
I have very seldom have they ever run outside the term policy because these are high demand, low market suppliers, and it's just not the normal. I can't remember the last time we had one of these run outside the term policy. Normally they don't even get past the 15-day age bucket, and we've made a significant return on asset.
Now, what percentage of market are you usually trying to start those type of cars out of?
If I'm not starting them at 115 to 120, we're not making enough.
Wow. Okay. All right. So then, what's a B car?
A B car is going to be normally your brand, could be outside the factory warranty, could be, I call them, these are the milk, bread, and egg cars. These are the cars that mid-sized four-door sedans, normally your brand, mid-sized CUVs and SUVs, normally your brand. They're going to be the ones that you get off. You could go to the auction and buy these. Mostly they're going to be your trades. You'll catch a few of these on the service drive. They might have some reconditioning risk, but normally these are about 60% of the total inventory dollars. Some of them could be backfilled in with your rental cars, but they're normally going to be that again, milk, bread, and egg, fits the customers are looking for a pre-owned vehicle.
So if you're, go ahead. I was gonna say, if it was a Chevy store, would that be a Malibu or more like a Traverse or Yukon or something that might be a little bit more?
Yeah, Malibu, Traverse, Equinox, could be Cruise depending upon the marketplace. Yes, that would be correct. Yeah.
All right. And then
paying special attention to the equipment, color, if they're over an $18,000 ask price.
Okay. Is that a 98 to 100% of market type car? Or are you still at or a little above?
Starting those at 97 to 99 from the beginning, and really watching VDP activity closely. These cars we're focusing again on total gross, not front end and back end. We're looking at the total. The only takeaway I can give you from this one, Jason, is I really evangelize to the dealer. Do not fall in love with these cars. Yeah. They're on every car.
All right, so if you're focused on front end, are you still allowing them to mark it up $1,500 or $2,000, or are you saying no, it's 97, 90% regardless of how you own it? Because that's the other part.
99 doesn't matter. We're going to rock and roll.
Okay.
We're going to replace the car.
Yeah. So that's the thing when you said, it's all front end gross driven. I don't want anybody to be confused with him saying, still try to make your $1,500 or $2,000 on it. No, it's 97, 99%, regardless if you're losing 200 or you're making $2,000, right? Right. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we really focus this particular segment of the inventory on using your pricing and marketing tools effectively. Okay. This is where they really come into play, because specifically color and optionality here make these things in VDP activity. And frankly, the description of this car becomes critical. This is one where you can't really use auto writer. You've really got to specifically spell out the condition of this car and spell out its optionality. Meta tagging here is huge, and flat pricing here is huge. So those are both have to have tools in the toolbox for the B inventory.
Now, for people to know what meta tag is, an explanation of that is kind of like meta tagging your website. Basically, put every type of feature benefit in the comments and description and multiples of. So if it's a sunroof / moonroof, if it's a navigation / nav / GPS, you want, no matter how somebody's looking for a Malibu with GPS, well, if you have it in there as a Malibu with navigation, you might not show up. So these cars, you got to maximize your content on your descriptions to maximize that exposure. So we've got 70% of the inventory covered and A and B, so what's a C then?
The C car that a lot of dealers, up until just a very few months ago, they were wholesaling. So a C car in my mind is a car that's out of warranty. It's a car that would compete against the independent dealer's inventory. It could be 5 years old and older. Potentially it could have over 100,000 miles on it, depending upon what state you're in and what your state inspection laws would allow you to sell. This is a car that, so specifically, you might have $9,000 or $10,000 in it, but potentially you can get an extraordinary return on investment and return on ad in this car. Cars that we don't recondition all the way, I encourage dealers to have. This is a C car, so a C car may only have 40% of the brake life left, may only have 35% of the tire tread left. All the options work, the air's cold, it's safe, may have a few scratches in it. We may not have spent all the money on PDR. It's been detailed, but it's a car that would compete in the marketplace against independents.
Okay.
It's going to run about 20% of the inventory.
All right, so that's 90. What's the last one left? All right. What's that last? That's 90% of inventory. What's that last 10%?
Well, the CPO business is for dealers that aren't getting a tremendous amount of pressure from their OEM. CPO is 10% of the business, and I know that there are movements afoot to move that needle. Mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily always give us the highest return on asset. Yeah. So when I go into a dealership, I want them to maximize the opportunity up with what kind of return on investment do they want to get from their inventory. ROI on inventory, a lot of dealers don't measure it, Jason. They don't really look at it. I encourage dealers to look at it strongly. Yeah. So the measurement of ROI for me as a benchmark is 35 to 40% return on inventory from a net profit as a percent of net profit divided by the month in inventory gives you a really quick snapshot of where you are on ROI.
Now, it's a little bit of a defense of the CPO because I know the stats that's growing and it's getting bigger. I was just at the and I believe you were there too. Auto Remarketing's and the CPO and some of the stats about and I questioned some of them because and they had to answer that was they had a stat that a high percentage, like 60% of customers would be willing to pay $2,000 more for a certified, and I said, whoa. They'd be willing to pay, or they actually do pay, because we don't see those type of stats that they actually do pay. And again, that could be the fault of the manufacturer ourselves explaining the benefits, but they don't pay that type of premium unless you're maybe a Lexus, BMW type dealer. So to defend the CPO a bit, though, even if I am a Chrysler store and I break even, I'm barely making any money on these certifieds, the total ROI for the store tends to be up, though. They did have a pretty strong stat that you still get a high penetration. Matter of fact, the number one Chrysler certified dealer said his F&I is actually higher on certified than the average. And also, the retention rate and stuff of service and things like that, and the upsell from having the CPO for a while to the next steps, the new car. So would you say, though, to defend CPO a bit, that overall ROI could be beneficial for the dealer?
The overall ROI on a CPO, Jason, is terrific. Yeah. The question becomes, does it fit with the strategy that a dealer wants to make? So if you're going to move that CPO needle, you've got to take it basically from the B bucket, and that can ultimately affect turn. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be in the CPO business, you have to pay special attention to what is the effect on turn, which ultimately will affect ROI.
Sure.
So you are right.
Especially the Highline stores, because they run into parts holds and getting these cars and paying stupid high money for them. I got an Affinity store that just, by the time they buy it, transport it, certify it, there's hardly any meat on the bones. But it's something that they have to do for allocations and things like that. So. Hey, Jasen Rice, check this out. We got the LotParty Cruise newsletter. Now, if you go to lotpop.com, we have the place up at the top to sign up for the newsletter, which will give you links to the newest show, the previous show, our newest tip, our party files where we talk about the bad photos and descriptions that people have done. We also have Tommy Gibbs zinger tips in there. So we have some great content. Sign up for our newsletter. Go to lotpop.com. You can also see our Twitter link there, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. We're on iTunes also, so check out iTunes, look for LotParty. You can just listen to the episodes there, or if you happen to be a Droid user, it's also on SoundCloud. You can get the SoundCloud app, and everything that we put out there is on a podcast too to just listen to. So again, hit lotpop.com. You can go join our Lot Party crew at the top, get the newsletter, and have all this content coming to you every week. Every Tuesday after the show Monday. If you missed it, don't worry about it. With the newsletter, Tuesday, we'll send you a link to the latest show and all the current information and greatest newest tips. Thanks.